It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all.
It's never worth it. Yeah. But okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we got sidetracked for sure.
Ready to go.
All right, so here's the Luke Longley conversation, and then we'll jump around a bit. Okay, just want to make sure.
Your jersey right here. I saw some of the vision, the NBA stores in Sydney and Melbourne, the lines that stretch out the door, and the sorts of people coming in. What's it like seeing that sort of popularity that you have, more than 2 decades after you won that last title?
Yeah, look, I thought those days were over a long time ago, and I wasn't missing them. I was pretty happy. But then dropping into that environment and seeing the people just digging the 90s basketball and wanting to buy my gear was actually really poignant for me, to put me straight back in those good years, and having fans come up and tell me how much they loved it and how impactful it was. I had one young man telling me stories about how he watched it with his dad, and that's how he remembers his dad, that's how they connected. And then you have someone else with their baby named Pippin, and it's just really quite wild how connected.
Already there, we're seeing his focus on the relationships and the connections to people, which is already pointing towards him being a higher feeling type, or at least having feeling within his stack, within the backbone of his type.
People still out of that era of basketball, and I guess I underestimated it.
So over the years, you would have had a lot of, what's Michael Jordan like? Tell us a Dennis Rodman story, and I'll be guilty of that today at some point. But is it a welcome change having people come for you and to appreciate and acknowledge your accomplishments and your legacy?
Yeah, certainly. The Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman stories are completely legit. I mean, that was the driving force behind what we did. But I think the thing that really made me feel great about my legacy, as you call it, was when The Last Dance came out and I wasn't involved, that the Australian public had an uproar. And it was the same public that had an uproar about me not being in that doco, the ones that showed up recently and bought my jersey. Those are the people that cared about it, that connected with there being an Australian in the NBA, not only an Australian in the NBA, but an Australian winning 3 championships. So those are the people that connected with it back then, and they were the people that were there. It was nice to see them being there for me, and I gave them everything I could.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my feel is that you leaning into your accomplishments and your legacy in your career has not been something that you've been too keen on doing. Is that right? And has something changed there where you've decided there is value in a lot of ways in me leaning into this sort of thing and making sure people are aware and sort of abreast of the stuff that you've done?
So candidly, my career ended, the ending of my career was a scripted nightmare. I had a miserable end of my NBA career. I had an ankle that was degenerating and had a couple of bad years in Phoenix. Then as it was exploding, basically I was in New York, not able to really train. And I guess coming out of Chicago, where it had been such a, sort of a basketball utopia sort of a situation where we're winning, and to have my body break down at the same time and not be able to play well. And then even the fact that I was being paid out of my contract felt weird. You want to earn your money. You don't want to, I accepted it because that's the way the collective bargaining is written, and obviously I'm going to, but it felt horrible to be a compensation claim at the end of a great career. I hated it, and I was really sad about it. And so I owned the Wildcats at that stage, but
there's one thing I definitely noticed about introverted guys, or this type. I mean, he seems very attached to me, just naturally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this attach is just either feelings or a sensation, and it's just like when it's TE, right? When there's TE there, and it's kind of an anchor point or low, it just comes off to me that this type is almost sensitive. They become more sensitive to being appreciated in a sense of fulfilling their requirements or whatever that standard is, right?
Yeah.
I've noticed that, and just something. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're on the same say wavelength there. Pretty much I was gonna say like him being like he hated that it was pretty much like a cop out kind of thing. And that sounds like it's something that's just personal to him, like something where he's like, oh, I didn't earn this, and I wanted to like be useful and be good at this thing and not have it be like, oh, just finish out the contract and you're still going to get paid and stuff, but you don't have to do anything. Which honestly, like a lot of people I think would be okay with that, but it was kind of against his own principles of how he operates and how what he thinks is right or wrong. And so he was more focused on that, and I think that really points to him being more of a feeling lead, like rational, like a judgment type, instead of it being like an introverted perceiver. It's definitely more of a judgment that he's basing things off of, but they're his
Yeah.
own judgments and they're coming from an attached place of feeling. So yeah.
I mean, I noticed this even with Rogue too. It's kind of like he always puts out, like, how can I add, or how can I help, or what can I do to try to assist? Like,
Yeah.
what he's trying to do is he's trying to put out there that he wants to try to be like try to help out in whatever way he could, because we think that he's fine. He's doing
Yeah.
he's adding plenty, but to him it's different, so it's
Yeah.
interesting.
It is very interesting. But yeah, I think we're pretty much on the same page here, Dan.
Like the Gentle Giant, I thought that was very I kind of love that because it breaks
Yeah.
away from a stereotype too, like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything's
that
like
type.
you're big and dangerous and stuff like that, big bad, but he's really just a kind person. He's just nice, and he just happens to be a very large person too.
Yeah. Who doesn't have like, or doesn't value SE, like doesn't have it as like a focus point function. Oh
Hmm.
my God, he's playing basketball.
Yeah.
Like,
That
yeah,
doesn't
no
mean that
shit.
he's
It's like,
using SE. Like that doesn't mean that his cognition is SE. Yeah. Like exactly. And I'm definitely seeing more SI narrative going on than an NI narrative. He's definitely like a double attached type where FI and SI are working together.
It wasn't that I didn't love basketball. It was just that I actually felt a bit embarrassed about the end of my career, and didn't focus for a very long time on the good years. And my recency bias, as I've said before, was those last 2 or 3 years of my experience in New York. And so yeah, that's what happened. So now that other people have generated some interest around it and brought it to me and said, hey, we appreciate it. And I guess that's just revitalised my pride in it. And equally as importantly, my kids have seen that be rewarded or recognised. And I've never wanted to make a song and dance about it, but I'm happy that other people are.
How do you describe what the sort of fandom around that Bulls team was?
I mean, describing frenzied crowds at hotels and people lining the freeway as our bus drives down the freeway to win our 70th game. That's one way of describing it, but my favourite way of describing it was that Phil had a video room, and he had various bits and pieces in our video room that he thought gave us the message about our responsibility to the public to play beautiful basketball and to live up to being a Bulls. And he had a photo on the wall, and it was a photo, so the story goes that this guy had gone to Tibet to do a pilgrimage, and he'd walked for 3 days into wherever you walk. I don't know the geography of it, but he thought he was sort of in the middle of nowhere and about to arrive at a monastery, and he met a monk who was in this photo, and the monk's in his monk gear and a Bulls hat. And the message was that everywhere, wherever you go on the planet, people are watching you. This is the biggest news story on the planet, a basketball sports story, or one of them on the planet. And it was because of Michael Jordan's amazing star power. It was because of the other characters, Scotty's sort of beautiful way of playing the game, Dennis's maniacal way of playing the game, Phil's, whatever you want to call it, aura. But everywhere on the planet, people were interested in what we're doing. And we felt that as a team. We felt the responsibility. And that was more powerful to me than crowds in front of the hotel or a crowd in the gym. It was that sense that everyone was watching and everyone was digging the fact that we were doing it in a sort of an egalitarian way and sharing the ball. And while we still might have run 23 down the stretch to close out games, that we're playing a brand of basketball that people love to watch and having a ball doing it. Yeah, MJ was really, a transcendental being. Dennis was really as mad as you think he is, probably madder actually, from my experience.
So I had to pause that because as he's like describing everybody, it's kind of funny when you think about like the other video we did with like with Michael Jordan and how they're both the opposite of each other, but yet they both were able to pretty much like help each other kind of grow in a way, to be better.
Right.
Yeah.
Like actively, you can see it. They kind of doing that too. Is they kind of looking at each other from the opposite side when it comes down to judgment. And the energy is almost completely different, right? Because the perception functions are different.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a true opposite, and that's something that I noticed too in IDT is one that, like, take me and you for instance, right? Like we share the same functions, but the are we truly opposites? It's like it doesn't always come off like that. Sometimes there's a lot more similarities when you see the same functions, it seems, especially when you have like two judgment types just in general, either whether it's introvert or extrovert. But when you have the different functions within the middle, it almost like there's something there. It's almost like there's like some missing pieces that you're putting together, yet at the same time you're still looking at the opposite there. So like it's just in a different way, right? So it's almost like you and Alfie.
Deflective guide, or is it deflective dream?
Guide. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, deflective guide. Yeah, that's what I meant. Versus kind of like how you guide, right? Which is like instrumental. And there's almost like an assistance, like for the deflective fix, for the pulsative fix, for her coming from you.
Yeah.
And vice versa. With me, it's a little different. It feels like more like a collaboration, like a support versus kind of like you and Alki. It's a little different.
I don't know. I haven't really noticed much with me and Alki, to be honest, but I've definitely noticed you and I will have more. Maybe it's just because we interact more, but like what I was kind of looking at with like Luke and Michael was more of like in a funny way with their opposites. It's so weird. It's like they're actually not. In a way, they're actually helping each other go more towards like a humble fix versus a cyclone or deflective. With their opposite or like the different perceptions, which is kind of weird and interesting, but it like somehow it works where they're able to actually. There's friction there, but then they're able to get by it a little bit easier, I think, because of their deflective, the way that they have their
their shard connected to their deflective.
I was saying with you and Octa, how you guys share both FE and TI, but opposites, but then you have the opposite attitudes for your perception functions. And in a
Exactly.
way, even though you both can go to a deflective state, you both actually are more likely not to go to your deflective state with each other. You both kind of more
Right.
go towards
That's what I
your,
was looking for.
yeah,
You're right,
yeah,
Gig.
yeah. You're both going towards your more humbled state towards each other. But when it's you and I, for some reason, there's that like clash that happens when we have the same perception function. That's something I've been
Exactly.
noticing that was really weird but interesting at the same time.
Picking up exactly what you was picking up on.
Yeah, yeah.
You just said it better. Yeah, I think that. No, you're right though. That's
Yeah.
exactly what's happening.
Yeah, with Luke and
There,
Michael
there's
too.
no need. There's almost no need for friction
Yeah.
with her because what she does is an avoidance for me and vice versa.
Mhm.
There we go.
Yeah.
Versus us, it's kind of like I see where you're going, but it's like how you got there, right? It's still predicated on your instrumental versus mine, and it's kind of like it's like, yeah, but you do these functions like this. You're doing those functions, but you're doing it like that when you can do these same functions like this. That's almost what it's like with me and you.
Yeah, and that's why it's so funny too. Is like that's why it's so interesting that we like we tend to clash a bit more than if you and Octa were to talk. Like, and then I'm pretty sure me and Alki, if we were to talk more often, are going to clash more than I or sorry, no. If Octa and Alki were to talk more, they probably would clash a bit more than if she
There's
were
something
talking with
there.
you. Yeah, there's something very
Yeah.
interesting going on with that I've been noticing too. But it's with Luke too, Luke and Michael, because we typed Michael TESE or the mogul, and Luke we're typing him as the monk, but for some reason they're both actually like having some sort of growth towards each other where he's like, I'm becoming more like realistic. I wasn't trying to put up a front, and like I've realized that everybody was being realistic, but like at the same time this is just who he is just being like a friendly person. And Michael was learning to probably be a bit better with his teammates instead of just being like pushing everybody to be the best and all that stuff, and like hurting relationships. He was probably actually able to help make a better relationship with the team.
Right. No. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
And there was another connection too that I was thinking about maybe sometime last week when I was reading Rogue and Alki conversation. There's something there too. It's interesting. Like the
It's very interesting,
self-reframing, the same, category self-reframers, but one detached, one attached, yet they have the same functions. There's something there.
Yeah, same perception
Like the
functions.
same middle functions, perception functions in this case.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was, but they come back.
Yeah, well, we can always like analyze more stuff, but like, yeah, that was just something that I was noticing with the two of them, with Luke and Michael, with the videos, was like how they were balancing each other in a very unique way, where it's almost like they were missing Luke in their group in order to like become even better.
The Rogue in the comments said type battle. Yeah. No, type combat. Sorry. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
100%. Yeah.
I can fast forward a bit. We can fast forward a little bit, and then we'll go to another video, and then
another video. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay.
Beds, have to get custom-made beds. Clothes when I was a teenager. Shit, I just was so embarrassed by the clothes that I could wear. Oh, there we go. There weren't very many choices.
Oh, look at that.
Actually gets me in the shoulders, just not quite in the arms.
Yeah.
It makes me furious now. I look at the teenagers and their jeans are all halfway up their calves, because that's cool. Well, mine were like that in the 80s and 90s, but it wasn't cool.
It's great. I want to use my SE expression a little bit here, even though it's I do think that, like, looking at him, right, even though he's a big guy, he's still wearing his functions. So what I mean is he's an introverted guy, right? it's like there's a reservedness about him as well. But where the SI comes into play is that he's not taking his size and using it, or kind of like stepping into a room in a way to where it's like the impact is bringing attention to him. Like, people are just observing him for a big person and just in general.
About that.
First time I saw Luke play basketball was at the Australian Under-18 Championships in Queensland. He would have been about 16 years of age at that time, and he was very tall and awkward, but you could see enormous potential. And so
I just want to say, like, it's kind of funny that he ended up becoming a basketball player, even though he was, like, more focused on other things, so he was dropped out. But I guess it's kind of like, I think it's just pointing more towards, like, him having a not a simulation, sorry. He's having SI as a natural auxiliary to his FI, where he was saying he wasn't, like, that aggressive or anything like that. He's always been more on, like, the gentle side, which points more towards, like, what you were saying, Dan, about, like, the SE expression. It would be much more intense. Yeah. And he was not very intense. And if anything, it sounded like he wasn't too serious about it, but I guess we'll see what happened to make him more interested and take it more seriously.
I thought that he really was going there because he wanted a bit of distance and to sort of just not be quite so close to the chaos that was happening at home.
When you're in a family that's splitting, you don't know what the rules are anymore. Whereas in a game, everything is laid out for you so that you know exactly what's going on.
I never planned for basketball to be a big deal in my life. I didn't expect that it would be. I stumbled into it. However, it provided me with a family when mine was broken down. And I think that became my sort of loving focus, almost. Like, that's what I sort of poured myself into.
Yeah, it's interesting that he kind of made his the people he was playing with became like the new, like, surrogate family almost to him. Like, he's not going to get, like, that won't separate. Like, even if they go their own ways and go to different schools and stuff, there's still, you know, that structure to the game itself and being like, this is my team, these are the people I'm working with and stuff like that, instead of it being like my family, or like people can just, like, disappear from you. It's more, he was looking for more of that, like, stability, emotional stability kind of thing, which is very interesting. Then he went through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
We both went to the US for college, and I like to think I had a little bit of a hand in how he got there because New Mexico were recruiting me at the stage.
Luke was back in Perth and the scouts came to see Andy Vlahoff.
The coach comes out to visit me here, a guy called Gary Colson. I told him about my friend Luke, and I told Luke to meet me down at the basketball centre.
I don't know why he asked me to come along, maybe to expose me to them. Maybe he needed a foil for him to look good against, because I was still just bouncing around having a bit of fun.
And I walk in with Gary Colson, and Luke's just come off the beach. He's in his boardies, barefoot, 7 foot, 16-year-old. Gary Colson's jaw dropped, pretty much forgot about me and went, I need this guy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like he just kind of like...
He just fell into it. The guy's like, oh, dang.
Just at the right place, right time, knew the right people, but no interest. He had really no interest in it. And he just wandering
That's so
around.
Funny. That's so funny.
And then he wound up playing with Jordan.
Yeah, isn't that hilarious? He was like, oh, hello. Okay, I guess I'm here now. He just kind of like went with it, like, oh, all right. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Rogue says, I think it's spot on with Luke. You can see how his TE kicks in when he talks about how he had to change his game to meet the needs of his team. Yeah, I agree. That's true. Maybe it is later in the video. We'll see.
When Luke was recruited by New Mexico, he was very green. He didn't know the game very well, but he has really good hands for a guy his size. He can shoot the ball, he can pass the ball, and he can defend.
By the time I realised that I actually really loved playing basketball, I was on the Olympic team in '88. That's when I went, hang on, this is real. Like, I actually could be pretty good at this.
he says it wasn't until he was in the Olympics that he's like, wait, I really like this.
Right. Like, you're at the big stage already. You know that, right?
It's so funny. That's so funny to me. He was like, hold up. I actually like to do this. I want to keep doing this now. Yeah, it's so funny because like he's like, I don't really care about winning. Winning was like, all right, but like what really mattered to him was the friendship or like the relationships with the people, the camaraderie that they had instead of winning. He's like, yeah, it's great to win, but at the same time, it's like he cared more about he wanted to have a good relationship and like teammates and stuff, which is so funny because like again with Michael it was the opposite. He's like, I only care about winning. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. I just want to win. Mm-hmm.
They needed to be on each other's teams is basically what that meant.
Yeah, exactly.
His Australian laid-back attitude, and I think it took a bit of his confidence.
What Luke Longley? You like Luke? No! What do you think of Luke Longley?
Well, let's see. Clumsy comes to mind right offhand.
He shows his emotion. And I could see him. He was running down the court and it was heavy. I knew that he was just really hating it.
My game from college didn't translate in the NBA. I hated it, but they had given me $1 million signing bonus. I was the first Australian to make it. I had to succeed. I went back at it and sort of redesigned myself a little bit, and I said, no, that wasn't good enough. Let's have another run at this. Which tools shall I pick up and beat myself up with? And so I re-engaged in the weight room and even watched videotape of how the good guys were doing it. Picked up a few more tools, you know, developed a little hook shot that I didn't have.
To me, this is him like describing his like anchor TE coming through. Him like doing TE and E kind of thing. Like he's watching what other people are doing and he's kind of making it work for him. He's kind of ideating on it, on how to be better, how to use these tools that other people are using in order to be better at his job. Because he's recognizing like, oh, people are not liking me and I need to be better, I need to do better. And so he's actually engaging that TENE humbled fix to get better and to actually ideate on how to be a better teammate. And like I said, him describing him going to watch videos of other people playing, other really good players who he's watching their movements and he's like, okay, how do I implement that for myself as well and learn from them? So yeah.
I always felt like it's hard for a big man to be a part of basketball because somewhere in the back of your mind you feel like, oh, just because I'm big, I'm a basketball player, rather than proficient or skilled. But Luke had a lot more than he's willing to admit. He was very adept at what he needed to do to be part of the team. He was a pass-first guy, which was important.
Here's the give and go, Longley to Harper. It's beautiful.
Phil was talking my language and talking calmly and slowly, not yelling at me like all the other coaches had. He managed to make me believe that I was great. So he put grease on the tracks, if you like.
This is like a really great relationship to point out too, is like how other people coach him affects his gameplay as well. Like he's very affected by other people in like how he's being treated. I mean, of course people are in general, but there's some people respond well to being yelled at. Some people like Luke don't respond well to being yelled at. So like him having a really good coach who he was like, oh, I really like this guy, and I want to actually, I respect him, and I'm going to actually listen to him more, and like more likely to work towards being a better teammate. Yeah, I think it's a really cool relationship to point out, like how they work together and how it helped make him an even better player as well.
You can't say, Luke, do this, because he's going to be resistant against commands. You have to tell him, Luke, tell yourself you can do this. And, you know, that became one of the methods that I used to talk to Luke about maybe scoring, being more aggressive.
We started to get rumours that MJ was thinking about coming back. He started hanging around at practice a little bit. First it was just watching from the gallery upstairs. You could see him hanging out up there. I had never spoken to him. And suddenly he's at practice fighting with Scotty and barking orders, and he wasn't even part of the team. He just came in and took over practice.
When Jordan decides to come back...
my ass.
I know, exactly.
He just came out of nowhere and took over practice.
Exactly.
Oh my
He's
God.
like, oh my goodness.
Everybody looking at him too, like this guy can't
Like,
stand this
he's
guy.
not
Nobody
even on
likes
the
him.
team anymore. He just jumped in and starts yelling at us to do better. And
Like, I don't even think he knows my name.
Yeah,
He
I
even
bet.
asked my name.
I bet what happened was like was he was up on like the top area watching them, and in his head he was like, they could do so much better. I'm gonna tell them how they gotta be better. Just straight up coming up with ideas of how they gotta be better.
Right, exactly.
He jumps in and starts telling
Right.
them how they're wrong and they can be better. That's so funny.
Yeah, and he's thinking that they're gonna appreciate him for it, though.
Yeah, and they're like, who, like this asshole.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, let's continue.
I was anxious to understand who my teammates were. My mindset was to go, try to get back and win. So you have to be prepared. You got to be ready to play.
When Michael comes back, it's amped up tenfold. Just the intensity and the awareness of what's coming. So I think it took some time for Luke to adapt and adjust.
Michael in the air, dumped underneath, Longley goes up, missed it.
Luke and other players, they felt like that they were walking on eggshells.
He just had all these sharp edges, like some sort of a ninja star.
You would assume that everybody had the same mentality as I had.
Like a ninja star.
Like a ninja
Look
star.
at his face. Look at his face on the pause. Look at those eyes. Urgh. He's so pissed.
Yeah, he's pissed.
He's like, you fucking
He's
missed.
looking directly at him. He's
Yeah.
just avoiding him.
He's like looking that way, like, okay, I can feel the eyes burning into me, but I'm not gonna acknowledge it. That's so funny. Oh my goodness.
Expect you to do. It was a mindset that I felt like Luke had to learn, and I think he did learn.
He'll say, oh, Luke wasn't this and Luke wasn't that, so I made him this and I made him that. And I'll say, well, may or may not be true. I might not have been a killer like MJ was, but you don't need 12 killers. You need a group of humans that appreciate, understand, push and pull, work together.
Michael's point is, we won, so it worked. We did it my way and it worked. If we did it your way, it might not have worked.
The Bulls needed Michael Jordan to be successful, no doubt in my mind.
MJ. Oh, he did it! Oh, Michael shakes the finger.
I was still that kid from Freo who was reshaping himself. And MJ was three-time world champion, best player on the planet, had his own shoes. And there was me and there was him, and somewhere between us was the rest of the team, and we had to figure out how to be together. And that wasn't his priority, but it was mine. I'm deep.
It speaks to his FI. Like, they're opposite priorities. They're literally the opposite priorities and stuff. And, like,
Opposite
yeah,
priorities.
MJ's things
That's
were
right.
making them win, but at the same time, like, the strain on the relationship with the teammates was there. And so, like, and like you said, they're both on the poles. somewhere
Yeah,
between the two
they're
of
both
them, their
cold.
teammates were there. Like, so that's so funny that he would say it like that, because it's TE and FI on the poles
Exactly.
interacting with each other. and everybody else is there between. All right.
Really thankful to MJ for showing me how to be a better basketballer, for compensating for my weaknesses with his brilliance. You don't have to love a bloke to be on his team, to care about him, to play basketball together. I didn't love MJ. I thought MJ was difficult and unnecessarily harsh on his teammates and probably on himself, and I think, you know, I just didn't enjoy being around him that much. And that was cool. It was cool with MJ and it was cool with me. There was no, at the end of the day, we found a way to respect each other